Alright, it's from the National Interpreting Foundation. Practice material for educational interpreters, so it's in the educational setting. Social studies is what it's listed as. I was an okay fan. When I took it in college, I made D's, but still, that's passing. Okay, the teacher looks very stern. Makes me think about how he's going to communicate. I wonder if that'll be a problem. Alright, he's already talking about locations that I'm unfamiliar with, so that would require preparation for the class. He's requiring the students to participate, so that also means that would affect the interpretation, that I would have to use role shifting, etc. Alright, specific terminology. Alright, he gets very loud with his volume, so that would, intonation is required, which would reflect in the interpretation. There's also multiple people speaking at the same time. Not a lot, but a little bit, so you'd have to handle that business. You know.
So, yeah, I couldn't hear anything that the students were saying. And then the professor just listened, and I could hear.
There's a lot of specific terminology referencing people and places. There's a lot of words listed on the board. So, I mean, referencing, sure, could be a possibility, but I don't know about specific terminology involved with specific signing. More specific terminology, but that's fingerspelling, proper nouns.
Now, Jason, I can actually understand what he's saying, so I can actually interpret what he's saying.
Even when asking the other classmates and students, some of them are unsure about what to say, so that would be needed to interpret, to show that hesitation, to show the uncertainty.
That would make it hard to interpret.
So there's a lot of interaction in the classroom. It's not like a teacher.
Alright, I'm noticing that there's not any necessarily a certain flow to the classroom. It's very sporadic. That's whatever comes to mind they express. So that could definitely affect the interpretation of how you handle that.
He raises his hand or whatever, they don't really do that too much in the class. And he keeps turning around to the board, so if I was there,
There was currently an announcement overhead to the speakers that had interrupted the class, so also I'd have to interpret that, along with the teachers. The teacher increased his volume to make sure to speak over the announcement. That would be an issue, and I would have to make sure to interpret that in the interpretation. Again, the Normans, Celts, specific terminology. I mean, you can fingerspell, that's fine. There's a lot of roll calling. I mean, he's calling out on specific students to answer the questions. A lot of students speaking at the same time.
I don't know these, the like signs for, these places, so.
Again, specific students are being called on.
Makes it easier just then because that way.
Specific places: Wales, England, Ireland, North Ireland. All things that can be handled, even if the sign is unknown. It could still be fingerspelled. And Scotland.
He's kind of talking about. He wasn't talking as loud.
Lots of referencing. He's using the map over behind him. He's talking about a specific time in history, but he goes into detail about what exactly is, so you could be clearly express what he's talking about. More specific terminology. A lot of fingerspelling. Fingers are going to get tired.
Couldn't hear what he was saying.
There's a lot of turn taking. Not necessarily. Okay, pause. Okay, there's a lot of turn taking going on. A lot of overlapping. There's a lot of numerous people speaking at the same time. I feel like this will be an issue because you have to convey that in the interpretation, but it's going to be difficult because it's all happening at the same time. So how to do so would be the interpreter's decision. But at the same time, there's a lot of yes, no, no, that's wrong. And he's correcting, so yeah, no, it could be conveyed easily, I believe.
And he keeps looking at the board and talking to the board, and that's hard on him. And this is actually stuff that I've never that would make it.
Specific terminology: Roman Catholics against the Protestants.
Have the I have to have time to prepare.
Because of the specific terminology, a lot of vocabulary is going to be needed beforehand.
The cameras and the class, but he's talking.
I think there's a lot of questions that he asks that aren't even requiring answers, but he's just looking for participation.
Just froze.
At the same time, I think he is, but not enough that he's actually looking for answers. He's just wanting participation. He said they do each other in. He's referencing a battle between the Protestants and the Catholic something. So, that's like not an idiom, but it's a phrase, a terminology that he uses that I would need to express that in ASL, that do each other in. Not sure yet.
I'd be able to do this without it.
Small comment. He's moved to the topic of religion. Personal issue. Don't know if that would conflict with my beliefs or anything like that, but he's just talking on the topic. So don't think it'll be too big of a deal, but just heads up.
Sarcasm.
He's talking about the rights of Americans.
Answer.
This is a lot. Yeah, this one will be a lot easier on me to interpret.
Okay. Okay, although he is talking about religion right now, he's actually speaking of things that I actually do believe in. So I think that my previous hesitation again on the topic is now pushed away because, yeah, right on.
That's being said. And all. Hard to hear that.
Lots of listing because he listed several different kinds of religions. So have to make sure to include all.
Oh, now the big one. Industrial Revolution.
Industrial Revolution, not sure about that. So specific terminology. Even the subtitles couldn't catch it, but one of the students was referenced in the very back far right of the class. The subtitles even said inaudible, so that means that the interpreter would probably not be able to pick it up. But fortunately enough, before I paused it, he referenced the student and asked, what was that again? So the information would be obtained again, once again. And even the unfamiliar terminology that was used earlier, he goes into detail later.
This is something else that I'm aware about, healthcare and that kind of thing. So this would be easy for me to interpret. Easier than most.
Same for me. The subtitles couldn't even understand all of the words that were spoken. But move on. Anybody?
I didn't get to know that. He just said, I read it on the subtitles. You didn't hear what that student just said.
Another thing that I'm thinking about is, it seemed like for the most part, while he's teaching the classroom, he's referencing the students, getting them to answer, but then again, at the same time, he'll ask a general question, and then students raise their hand, so I would have to interpret that as well.
I don't even know what they're talking about. Dad's job, but I don't know. Like, there's no.
Now, again, it's another thing that has been, I feel like has been an issue, is the pace that's going on in this classroom. It's yes, no, right, yes, natural gas. I mean, it's quick and it's fast, and it makes me wonder if I'm going to be able to handle that in the interpretation as swiftly as the class is.
this would be different too with the whole income tax, the taxes, just the difference in amount of taxes and that kind of thing.
Okay. How many people pay for the health care?
It feels like there's a lot of rhetorical questions, so, again, same as earlier.
How to interpret that correctly.
Again, inaudible words. A lot of overlapping. I'm unable to comprehend what everyone is saying. Connecticut legislature. Not sure about that either. Listening, not a problem. I can do that. 3 types of government, that's what it was. State names, need to know that, or at least the abbreviations. The teacher, I would take it as the meta message of the teacher. He was joking with the students, but he shows no physical signs of haha or teasing. Like, I mean, I would have to think about how I would convey the teasing without a physical connection to it. Lastly, again, it's the numerous students that are speaking at the same time. It's the teacher isn't even referencing all of them. So, would that be required in the interpretation? I mean, yeah, it would be, because the deaf individual needs to know exactly what's going on. But even if the subtitles don't even value it enough to be put on there, so that's slight hesitation.